Well, this is the Formula, and you're joining me from the Vintage Computer Fair, Great Britain, at the Shipston Discovery Centre, Colville. So, as you can see, they had a few stalls that were selling computer games, retro kind of stuff, retro systems, and they were all very reasonably priced, show prices. And the guy kind of told me, because he wasn't playing eBay charges, he could kind of reduce the price, which was very good. There was a Saturn there, a few Dreamcast games, GameCube, Jaguar, a few boxed consoles as well. It was a really good little store. Hello, I'm here with Dylan Smith, the creator of Spectranet.
Yeah.
You alright?
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, so what is Spectranet?
It's an Ethernet card for the Sinclair Spectrum, so it has a chip to deal with the physical side of the Ethernet and to interface this with the bus of the Sinclair Spectrum, basically.
Okay.
Plus a little bit of software because no hardware is very useful without software to drive it, so it's got the software to drive it. For instance, a socket library at the lower levels, file system drivers, that kind of thing.
And
so you can write programs
all
to
that
use it.
software as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh wow! And did you program that yourself? That was.
Yeah, the great majority of that was somebody had to do it. So I couldn't really. It was different. You know, if you expect other people to do it, it probably won't happen. So I just had to think, just go write it.
And what does the Spectranet allow you to do?
It allows you to do basic things like use network file systems. So you can load your games. There's a server I've got on the internet. So you can directly play games off a server on the internet.
So you'd load it from a centralised server?
Yeah, that's right. So you can normal file server type things.
Does that also reduce loading speed as well? Or
it's a lot quicker than loading from tape, yes. Yeah. It allows you to also, you can write multi-user games. I wrote one last year called Spectank, which we had a couple of tournaments. There's a couple of events in Spain I go to. We had our first tournament in RiscOS in Bilbao, and that had actual cash prizes, so the Spectrum was like now bursting into the world of esports. And we did that again at Retromania at the University of Saragossa that last November. And we're planning on doing the same again at Play Expo this year in Manchester. Hopefully a prize pool and everything.
And what game will that be on?
That'll be Spectank again. It's like a 4-player. It's like a two-team 4-player capture the flag tank driving game. So you drive your tank around the map and shoot at each other and try and get the other guy's flag.
Sounds good fun.
Yeah.
And it's great that you've brought some life into the Spectrum and you're entering the gaming competitions and everything.
Yeah, it's the first video game I've ever written as well. So it's quite nice to see people enjoying it. So
and to see that it's playable and Have you got any other plans of what you plan to do on the future of Spectranet?
It's difficult to know. The thing is, because it implements a file system module, I thought of adding on, say, a local physical file system, so you can download stuff and save them locally. Yeah. But it's all time. I've got too many projects on, so I never know what. I've got to pick one I can complete in a reasonable time.
And I guess you're kind of always zapping bugs.
Yeah.
And doing this kind of thing.
There's the maintenance of the course. So every so often somebody writes me and says this doesn't work. So I look and there's a bug there, so I have to go fix it. So
excellent.
I have to do a firmware fix. But one thing I want to do is improve Spectank a little bit for Play Expo. So there's like an attract screen and there's a spectator mode. Because we may even have a pro game commentator or something like that. Wow. So they need a spectator mode so they can see the whole game world at once.
And that's a feature of online gaming as well. Spectator mode.
Yeah. So we'll need spectator mode. So
excellent. Well, thank you for the interview, Dylan.
Yeah.
This section is celebrating the silicon chip age, and first we see an Xbox, which the internet was actually created on, built by Steve Jobs. This isn't the actual model that the internet was built on, but it was built on this system when Steve Jobs left Apple. We have the Commodore PET. We have a few Amstrad systems there, I think. in a Commodore 64. Oh, here's an Amstrad. And there's also displays with information about Alan Sugar there, from barrel boy to businessman. It's Karl Sinclair as well, 16-bit Mega Drive here. SNES. Super Famicom, I think. Family Computer, Famicom. This looks like a Master System. Turbo Graphics, I think that is. This is your Atari Jaguar, which was Atari's last kind of machine. This is a 2600, I think, Atari. Very nice console. And later Sinclair Spectrum with cassette built in. This is an Atari ST. And that's sitting next to its old friend, the Amiga 1200. Across here we have some calculator, ZX Spectrum, I think, or some old kind of early video camera that used microprocessing, silicon chip, and PlayStation 1 Pong, and it looks like he's playing football on that unit, or doubles, reel to reel, football, mini disc or CD or anything like that, old radio as well. And some synthesizer keyboards here as well, and there were some guys playing some good music on there earlier. Very interesting looking hi-fi here. And they also had some stuff about this stack stereo sound systems. This is another very strange looking machine. An old VCR player. An old television, and these kind of little units you could get to play games on. There's a Simon game in the background.
Hello guys, so this is the Sinclair C5. This was brought out in the year that I was born, 1985, and this was created by Karl Sinclair as a revolutionary piece of design and transportation for the modern 80s worker. As you can see, it's essentially a bicycle with a battery at the back in a plastic case. It's an amazingly simple invention, and I don't actually think it went down that well because a lot of people thought they were very dangerous because they were very low down in the road. You probably couldn't be seen by lorries. You were about the same level as an exhaust pipe. And yeah, there's still a lot of people that are into the C5. If you do some Googling, there's a jet-powered C5 where someone's actually modified it and put a jet engine in the back, which is totally crazy. And this, you don't have to pay any road tax or any MOT. You could straight away go out on the road on it, which is pretty mad. But anyway, there's the Sinclair C5. I'm here with Karl Cooper from the BBC, and he's talking about distributing on universal devices.
So here we have a BBC iPad. People sometimes say to me, this is domestic gear, so what about the quality? Well, the moment you attach a decent microphone via a breakout lead into the mic headphone socket, you've got a decent news gathering tool in your hand.
That's XLR, so you can use many
Exactly.
microphones with that.
It opens the world of pro gear up the moment you've got an XLR on there. Just an ordinary pair of headphones here. This is one of the apps that we use. This is Lucy Live. So Lucy Live will make a live quality link with radio. And so the list of access points around the BBC is ever growing. Network radio in there, but all the local radio stations now have got a couple of access points for use. This app, you can also record audio into this and take clips and illustrate your story. So it's a very, very capable piece of software, this. On the phones that we use, on the iPhones, we just have a cut-down version, which basically just makes the live link.
Does that also have the adapter with it on the iPhone?
No, we just on the phones
you just use the microphone.
We're just going to use on the bottom of the iPhone. This has got a juice pack on it here.
Okay.
But where the home key is, the reason we chose the iPhone 4 and the 4S is the mic is decent quality.
Yeah. I know a
Perfectly
lot
decent.
of people that use
Yeah.
it for dictaphones.
Yeah.
So that's.
Well, we're happy to use that for broadcast use.
Okay.
I mean, the only thing that we add as an extra bit of the toolkit for our journalists is a windshield. So basically, here we have a very simple foam device with a branding identity on it, and that just fits over the top of the phone, because you're going to get wind noise. You know, you're just going to get wind noise on the hard edges of the phone here. So a cut down version of that goes on the phones, and then the other app that we love in the BBC, but you can't get in the App Store, is that one there. So that's called PNG.
Yeah.
So PNG stands for Portable News Gathering. So it's a multimedia capable device to take photos, record audio and record video. But the magic of that app is that when I want to send, that will send the material straight into BBC servers.
Excellent. So it connects directly wherever you are, and then.
Yeah. So, you know, for example, if you were covering a news story and you wanted to get your report onto a bulletin, you would use the record audio facility here. You can trim your final.
You can edit it yourself as well.
Editing is the grand word. I mean, you're trimming rather than editing. You're topping and tailing. So you're bringing the file size down effectively, and then you send. And you know, literally within a couple of minutes, that sound file will be on the server for the newsreader to use and pull into the audio edit and play out system.
That's excellent.
In base. So we've had a lot of success with that. We've got about 600 iOS devices across England.
Wow.
So, you know, that's a large news gathering force. And what it means for you, the audience, is that you're going to hear the audio from the field, you're going to see the video, and you're going to see the pictures faster. It speeds up the whole news gathering operation.
Excellent. And it also means they're not constantly repeating mobile phone footage, or, you know, because
fresh material.
Yeah, it's fresh material. It's fresh reporters there. No, thank you for that. That's some excellent stuff.
Pleasure.
Okay, so this was the Retro Computer Museum. They had loads and loads of different systems. This is a 3DO, and there was many different versions of the 3DO. Not sure what this is. I'm not sure I'm going to know many of these systems actually. Toshiba. It's very interesting. It had a lot of rare systems throughout the world. This is your old BBC, I recognise that. Amiga CD32, of course, the last Amiga Commodore console. C64, of course. Haven't got a clue what that is. Yeah, there's a lot of consoles here I don't recognise. You'll probably be able to name them in the comments. Turbo graphics. And these are all kind of Pong units. Multiplayer Pong ones with different options on them. So to go on that. I think this is your Sega Saturn here. N64 of course. Yeah. Xbox. And these are like, they look like main cabinets or little cabs just built up for the games. CoinOps 5. That looks like another maybe main machine, or this could possibly be emulated machines. I think that's a ColecoVision. Dick Smith Wizard, that sounds crazy. Dreamcast there. Some Atari Lynx, Master System 2, and Sega SX32, I think. Another N64. And this thing fascinated me. It was built by Sharp. It's a twin Famicom, so it was a Famicom with a disk drive that you could run Sharp games on.
So, why did you write this book? What inspired you?
Well, to keep it brief, I was an aerospace engineer. I was very interested in the microprocessors when they first came along and those possibilities, and that was the early 70s. Fantastic time to see these beginning to appear. And I remember the first keyboard appearing on a hot drinks machine in the factory I worked in, and people were astonished because it used to be push buttons, and that really hit home that these microprocessors were just going to go all over the place. So obviously I got into the Spectra and such like when they came along. And when I left that, went into radio production. I always wanted to do something about technical subjects and explaining for general audience. And I came across some, I thought, fantastic stories of the early computer pioneers, like the Leo computer made by Lyons tea shop people. And you think, how did they build the first business computer when they were tea shops? And there's a good human story.
My dad used to work in Tesco's in a giant room of computers in the early days. So.
And I don't know if they built their own, they probably didn't, but Lyons actually just, because they were a company that always made everything themselves, they needed a computer, so they made it from scratch. And then there was the first Soviet computer, which at the time I did the radio series was almost unknown, and again was a great story because it was right after World War II. Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, was destroyed. The armies had been across it back and forth. And yet they took over an abandoned monastery, they rebuilt it, they wound their own transformers and something. And they built a computer at the time when they couldn't copy what was in the West because that wasn't published. It was all, it was genuine original stuff.
So I guess you were also interested in Colossus and these kind of machines from Bletchley Park with the previous Vintage Computer Festival. Did you attend the previous one?
Yes, the last
Park,
I did indeed. Yes.
Excellent. And are you signing books today?
Yes, I am. It did well 3 years ago. I'd over 200 books I sold in a couple of days, and it was great meeting people and chatting about them and signing them. Lots of people have been involved in the early computers, of course.
And I think there's been a recent kind of revitalisation and. With these new papers coming from Alan Turing, I think there's been an interest in this early computer.
I mean,
work.
when I started doing this, first of all for the radio series about 2001, and then when I wrote the book in 2005, I was interviewing people who would say, I've got a pile of manuals in the attic, or I've got these old bits and pieces, and I don't know who to give them to. And I didn't either because there wasn't really much happening. Now there would, there's the Bletchley Park National Museum Computing's opened up. There's this new one in Cambridge.
The Internet Archive as well, they've
absolutely.
started.
And the Science Museum in London is much more open than it was. It's saving much more stuff. So generally it's a much better position now because it looked like a lot of this stuff was going to die off with the pioneers.
Or just be ignored, or
just be lost, be thrown away.
Lost as military secrets or
that as well.
So it's good that it's come out.
It is, because they were amazing people. What came out to me from the book was the enthusiasm and the inventiveness of these people.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
But also the fact that when they were working on stuff, they didn't necessarily know.
They didn't realise how important it was, how pioneering. That's right,
how it's going to change the world, really. Okay,
good.
Thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
Last but not least, we have the Raspberry Jam and 80s Classroom. This was a load of Raspberry Pis that people could kind of learn programming on, and they had instruction manuals next to them and small guides on how to program. They also had a full 80s classroom of BBC computers, and people had BASIC at the side of them, and they were programming BASIC all day and kind of doing little tasks, as you can see on the computers. Very much like the kids of the 80s would have. And I actually remember these at school. Not Raspberry Pis, of course, they're the new generation. And this is the Acorn area with the RiscOS group from London. Acorn's had a lease of life because of the ARM processor in Raspberry Pi. People are installing RiscOS, and here's a Lego Raspberry Pi kind of machine and a full Lego Raspberry Pi laptop, which is pretty amazing, all running RiscOS. They also had an Acorn Phoebe there, which is one of only 2 machines in existence. And here's a Beagle board, and another Raspberry Pi in a Lego case. and RiscOS was running very well under emulated environments as well, as you can see here.
So that's the end of Vintage Computer Fair UK, and it looks like we had the weather against us with attendance. It was very bright and sunny, and there was a lot of success going on in the tennis, so it wasn't that well attended, but there's some very interesting things and there's some very interesting people. Thanks.
There was a person in a Pac-Man suit. Well, I never saw him.